Hello, everybody.
We can't see your head, Stop. Guys, you gotta look down.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. For what?
For some social distancing story time.
Yeah, another episode of social distancing story time, right, dude? Okay. Let's check out some more of the poems of Shel Silverstein from Where the Sidewalk Ends, okay? Eve, you want to sit right here so you can see the pictures?
I can see them.
I see. All right, let's start with Won't You? Barbara's eyes are blue as azure, but she's in love with Freddie. Karen's sweet, but Harry has her. Gentle Jane is going steady. Whoa, that's bright. Carol hates me, so does May. Abigail will not be mine. Nancy lives too far away. Won't you be my Valentine? Isn't that how you'd like to be asked? I'm going to ask everybody else first, except they can't do it. So how about you? Alice. She drank from a bottle called Drink Me, and she grew so tall. She ate from a plate called Taste Me, and down she shrank so small. And so she changed while other folks never tried nothing at all. Shadow wash. I've never washed my shadow out in all the time I've had it. I was absolutely filthy, I suppose, and so today I peeled it off, the wall where it was leaning, and stuck it to the wash tub with the clothes. I put in soap and bleach and stuff. I let it soak for hours. I wrung it out and hung it out to dry. And whoever would have thunk that it would have gone and shrunk, for now it's so much littler than I. I wonder why it got smaller.
I don't know why.
You think that it shrunk, or maybe did it have to do with the position of the sun?
I think so.
I think so too. Recipe for a hippopotamus sandwich. Ooh, I'm hungry. Maybe I'll try this recipe. A hippo sandwich is easy to make. All you do is simply take 1 slice of bread, 1 slice of cake, some mayonnaise, 1 onion ring, 1 hippopotamus, 1 piece of string, a dash of pepper. That ought to do it. And now comes the problem, biting into it. Because is a hippo big or is a hippo small?
A hippo big.
A hippo's really big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 18 flavors. 18 luscious, scrumptious flavors: chocolate, lime, and cherry, coffee, pumpkin, fudge, banana, caramel, cream, and boysenberry, rocky road, and toasted almond, butterscotch, vanilla dip, butter brickle, apple ripple, coconut, and mocha chip, brandy peach, and lemon custard, each scoop lovely, smooth, and round. Tallest ice cream cone in town, lying there on the ground. Poor Angus.
My poor Angus.
Well, let's find out. Oh, what do you do, poor Angus, when hunger makes you cry? I fix myself an omelet, sir, of fluffy clouds and sky. Oh, what do you wear, poor Angus, when winds blow down the hills? I sew myself a warm cloak, sir, of hope and daffodils. Oh, who do you love, poor Angus, when Catherine's left the moor? Ah, then, sir, then's the only time I feel I'm really poor. What a day. What a day, oh what a day. My baby brother ran away, and now my tuba will not play. I'm 8 years old and turning gray. Oh what a day, oh what a day. Ma and God. God gave us fingers. Ma says, use your fork. God gave us voices. Ma says, don't scream. Does your mommy say that? Yeah, she does. Ma says, eat broccoli, cereal, and carrots. But God gave us tasties for maple ice cream. God gave us fingers. Ma says, use your hanky. Does mommy say, don't use your fingers with your nose? Yes. God gave us puddles. Ma says, don't splash. Ma says, be quiet, your father's sleeping. But God gave us garbage can covers to crash. God gave us fingers. Ma says, put your gloves on. God gave us raindrops. Ma says, don't get wet.
Why does Ma say don't get wet?
Well, does mommy say that to you sometimes? Yeah. Ma says, be careful and don't get too near those strange, lovely dogs that God gave us to pet. God gave us fingers, and Ma says, go wash your hands.
Why does she say go wash your hands?
Do I tell you to wash your hands a lot? Yeah. But God gave us coal bins and nice dirty bodies, and I ain't too smart, but there's one thing for certain, either Ma's wrong Where else God is. Or maybe there's a happy medium. Bang clang. I'm Big Barney Zang of the Railroad Gang. My partner is Charlie O'Flynn, and I hold the nails for the big steel rails, and Charlie, he hammers them in. And most of the time he does just fine, but now and again he fails. Maybe tomorrow I'll hammer him in and let Charlie hold the nails. Wait a second, what went wrong? Evie, what went wrong here?
I don't know.
Is that where the nail goes?
No.
I bet he's hurt, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he's hurt.
I think he might be hurt.
I think he is hurt.
Traffic light.
Why is he hurt?
I don't know. Traffic light. The traffic light simply would not turn green, so the people stopped to wait as the traffic rolled and the wind blew cold, and the hour grew dark and late. Hold on one sec. Zoom, vroom. Hold on. Trucks, trailers, bikes, and limousines clattering by. Me, oh my. Won't the light turn green? Hold on. But the days turn weeks and the weeks turn months, and there on the corner they stood, twiddling their thumbs till the change-in comes, the way good people should. And if you walk by that corner now, you may think it's rather strange to see them there as they hopefully gaze with the very same smile on their very same face as they patiently stand in the very same place and wait for the light to change. Oh, me stew. I have nothing to put in my stew, you see, not a bone or a bean or a black-eyed pea. So I'll just climb in the pot to see if I can make a stew out of me. Oh, I'll put in some pepper and salt and I'll sit in the bubbling water. I won't scream a bit. I'll sing while I simmer. I'll smile while I'm stewing. I'll taste myself often to see how I'm doing. I'll stir me around with this big wooden spoon and serve myself up at 1:45. So bring out your stew bowls.
Dog.
Okay, back up, little buddy. Yep, we'll read that in a minute. So bring out your stew bowls, you gobblers and snackers. Farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with crackers. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Double-tailed dog. What's going on with this doggy? Back up, Evie.
I
Would you
don't
like to buy a
know.
dog with a tail at either end? He is quite the strangest dog there is in town, though he's not too good at knowing just exactly where he's going. He is very, very good at sitting down because he has 2 bums. He doesn't have a place to put a collar, and I'll admit it's rather hard to lead him, and he cannot hear you call, for he has no ears at all, but it doesn't cost a single cent to feed him. He cannot bite, he'll never bark or growl, just scratch him on his tails. He'll find it pleasing, but you'll have to take him out for twice as many walks. And I'll bet that you can quickly guess the reason.
Why would we have to take it out?
Because he needs to go potty twice as much, because he has 2 buns.
Why do we have 2 buns?
I don't know, he's a crazy dog. All right, be careful, bud. Paul Bunyan. He rode through the woods on a big blue ox. He had fists as hard as chopping blocks, 500 pounds and 9 feet tall. That's Paul. Talk about working when he swung his axe. You could hear it ring for 1.5 miles. Then he'd yell, "Timber!" and down she'd fall for Paul. Talk about drinking. That man's so mean that he'd never drink nothing but kerosene, and a 5-gallon can is a little bit small for Paul. I don't know, let's listen. Talk about tough. Well, once he had a fight with a thunderstorm on a cold, dark night. I ain't saying who won, but it doesn't storm at all round here, thanks to Paul. He was 90 years old when he said with a sigh, "I think I'm gonna lay right down and die, 'cause sunshine and sorrow, I've seen it all," says Paul. He says, "There ain't no man alive can kill me, ain't no woman round can thrill me. I think heaven just might be a ball," says Paul. So he died, and we cried. It took 18 men just to bust the ground. It took 24 more just to lower him down, and we covered him up, and we figured out that was all for Paul.
Why did he die?
That's what he decided to do. But late one night, the trees started shaking, the dogs started howling, and the earth started quaking, and out of the ground with a "Hi, y'all," come Paul. He shook the dirt off from his clothes, he scratched his butt, and he wiped his nose. "I know being dead was no fun at all," says Paul. He says, "Up in heaven they got harps on their knees, they got clouds and wings, but they got no trees. I don't think that's much of heaven at all," says Paul. So he jumps on his ox with a "Fare thee well." He says, "I'll find out if there's trees in hell." And he rode away, and that was all we ever seen of Paul. He wants to see if there's something interesting around the next corner. But the next time you hear a timber yell, that sounds like it's coming from the pits of hell. Then a weird and devilish ghostly wail, like somebody chopping on the devil's tail. Then a shout, a call, a crash, a fall. That ain't no mortal man at all. That's Paul.
Why not Paul?
Because that's where he went.
Why that's where he went?
He just did. Oh, dancing pants. That sounds interesting. I think you have dancing pants.
Dancing touching me.
And now for the dancing pants, doing their fabulous dance from the seat to the pleat. They will bounce to the beat with no legs inside them at all, and no feet beneath. They'll whirl and twirl and jiggle and prance, so just start the music and give them a chance. Let's have a big hand for the wonderful, marvelous, super sensational, utterly fabulous, talented dancing pants. I won't hatch. Oh, I am a chickie who lives in an egg, but I will not hatch. I will not hatch. The hens they all cackle, the roosters all beg, but I will not hatch. I will not hatch. As the people all shout and the airplanes roar, so I'm staying in here where it's safe and it's warm, and I will not. Oh, you guys, I skipped a whole line. Well, we got to go back to the beginning. I screwed it up. Oh, I am a chickie who lives in an egg, but I will not hatch. I will not hatch. The hens they all cackle, the roosters all beg, but I will not hatch. I will not hatch. For I hear all the talk of pollution and war as the people all shout and the airplanes roar. So I'm staying in here where it's safe and it's warm, and I will not hatch. Bit of a political statement there. With its mouth full of food. Stay up here, okay, Evie? Milford, you just on the front lawn here. Milford Dupree, though he knew it was rude, talked with his mouth full of food. He never would burp or walk out in the nude, but he talked with his mouth full of food. Well, we'll listen and we'll find out. He said, his mother said, Milford, it's crude and it's lewd to talk with your mouth full of food. Why, even the milk cow who mooed as she chewed never mooed with her mouth full of food. And the cuckoo who would never have cuckooed if he cooed with his mouth full of food, his dad said, get married or go get tattooed. But don't talk with your mouth full of food. If it was a crime, you would surely get sued if you talked with your mouth full of food. Why, just like an animal, you should be zooed as you talk with your mouth full of food. For you know we're all put in a terrible mood when you talk with your mouth full of food. They pleaded and begged, he just giggled and chewed and laughed with his mouth full of food. And all they advised him, he simply poo-pooed. He poo-pooed with his mouth full of food. So they sent for the gluer and had his mouth glued, because he talked with his mouth full of food. Now instead of good morning, he says, His mouth is glued. He can't talk anymore.
Why can't he talk?
Because his mouth is glued.
Why is his mouth glued?
Because he kept talking with his mouth full of food. So you better make sure you don't, kiddo.
I like to talk.
My hobby. When you spit from the 26th floor and it floats on the breeze to the ground, does it fall upon hats or on white Persian cats or on heads with a pitty-pat sound? I used to think life was a bore, but I don't feel that way anymore. As I count up the hits, as I smile as I sit, as I spit from the 26th floor.
He doesn't need to spit, because why is that so sad?
Well, she's looking off the edge of the world.
Why is he so sad?
Because we read that one yesterday. Instructions. If you should ever choose to bathe in armadillo, use 1 bar of soap and a whole lot of hope and 72 pads of Brillo. Ooh, the worst. Sometimes do you say you have the worst mummy in the whole world? Yeah, sometimes we do. When singing songs of scariness or bloodiness
and no.
Well, I think I might not be the worst mummy in the whole world, but you know, up to you. When singing songs of scariness, of bloodiness and hairiness, I feel obligated at this moment to remind you of the most ferocious beast of all, 3,000 pounds and 9 feet tall, the glurpity slurpity skakagral, who's standing right behind you. I got scared for a second. He's not there, though.
Why do you feel like
Well, I thought the skakagral was behind me, but he wasn't. The bagpipe, who didn't say no.
why
The poem was joking. It said it was behind me. It was 9 o'clock at midnight at 3:15 when a turtle met a bagpipe on the shore side by the sea. And the turtle said, "My dearie, may I sit with you? I'm weary." And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "I have walked this lonely shore. I have talked to waves and pebbles, but I've never loved before. Will you marry me today, dear?" "Is it no you're going to say, dear?" But the bagpipe didn't say no. So the turtle said to his darling, "Please excuse me if I stare, but you have the plattest skin, dear, and you have the strangest hair. If I begged you pretty please, love, could I give you just one squeeze, love?" And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Ah, you love me, then confess. Let me whisper in your dainty ear and hold you to my chest." As he cuddled her and teased her, and so lovingly he squeezed her, and the bagpipe said, "Auga!"
What does bagpipe say? Ow.
Well, the bagpipe makes a funny noise if you squeeze it. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Did you honk or bray or neigh? For auga when you're kissed is such a heartless thing to say."
Ow.
Is it that I have offended? Is it that our love is ended? And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Shall I leave you, darling wife? Shall I waddle off to woedom? Shall I crawl out of your life? Shall I move, depart, and go, dear?" But the bagpipe didn't say no. So the turtle crept off crying, and he ne'er came back no more, and he left the bagpipe lying on that smooth and sandy shore. And some night when tide is low there, just walk up and say, "Hello there," and politely ask the bagpipe if this story's really so. I assure you, darling children, that the bagpipe won't say no.
Why
The
would
bagpipe,
they say no?
because bagpipes don't talk.
Why do bagpipes not talk?
Well, because they're an instrument.
Why are they instruments?
The longest nose in the world belongs to Betsy Bluebonnet, who lets me write things on
Why
it.
are they an instrument?
It's like Stasha's recorder. It's an instrument.
Hey, that's a question.
It says the longest nose in the world belongs to Betsy Bluebonnet, who lets me write things on it. Should I write things on your nose? Boop, boop, boop. Oh, okay, I won't. Rudy Felsch.
You can.
Hold on. Rudy Felsch knows how to belch better than anyone ever did. Margot says that Rudy Felsch, is a nasty, vulgar kid. Someday he will go to heck or jail or Canada. But now every night I pray that first Rudy Felsch will show me how. Oh, trouble. Fred? From out of the cold Caribbean into the desert Libyan, there crawled a strange amphibian, and we shall call him Fred. Or let's just call him Ted, or maybe Lou or Jed. But I want to call him Fred. You like Maurice instead? Or Barnaby, or Red, or Lucifer, or Ned? Well, anyway, he's dead. I don't know. The long-haired boy. There was a boy in our town with long hair. I mean really long hair. And everybody pointed at him and laughed at him and made fun of him. And when he walked down the street, the people would roar and stick their tongues out and make funny faces and run in and slam their door and shout at him from the window until he couldn't stand it anymore. So he sat down and cried till his whole body shook. And pretty soon his hair shook too. And it flapped and flapped and he lifted and flew. That's kind of neat.
Why did he flap?
Flying hair. Straight up in the air like a helicopter. Jenny Rickers saw him and dropped her knitting and screamed, "It's a flying kid!" Lukey Hastings ran and hid under old man Merrill's car. Miss Terrence fainted. Henry Quist tried to shoot him down but missed. "I thought he was a crow," he said. See how high he is? He's so high you can just see his feet. And round he sailed all through the day.
Why can we just see his feet?
Because he's flying up so high. Smiling in the strangest way, with the wind in his hair and the sun in his eyes, we saw him swoop and bank and rise. He brushed the treetops and skimmed the grass on Yerby's lawn and almost crashed.
Why did it almost crash?
I don't know, right into Hanson's silo, but zoomed up in time and almost hit the courthouse. Old man Cooley bit right through his napkin when he saw a kid flying through the diner door and out of the window, tipping the ladder. Where Smokey was painting, he almost had a heart attack. He clung to a rafter. The kid flew on. Us running after, cheering and sweating and screaming, "Hooray!" Mayor Lowry shouted, "Hey, come down here. Kid would like to say how proud of you we are today." Whoever thought our little town would have a hero in it? So I'd like to proclaim this day, "Hey kid, will you please come down for just a minute?" But the flying kid did not come down. He treaded air above the town, sort of crying and looking down, and all of us here on the ground. Then up he flew up into the clouds, flapping and flying so far and high, out past the hills and into the sky, until a tiny speck against the sun was all we could see of him. Then he was gone. He flew away, I guess. Band-Aids. I have a Band-Aid on my finger. 1 on my knee and 1 on my nose, 1 on my heel and 2 on my shoulder, 3 on my elbow and 9 on my toes, 2 on my wrist and 1 on my ankle, 1 on my chin and 1 on my thigh, 4 on my belly and 5 on my bottom, 1 on my forehead and 1 on my eye, 1 on my neck, and in case I might need them, I have a box full of 35 more. But oh, I do think it's sort of a pity I don't have a cut or a sore. That's crazy. Why are you wearing Band-Aids then? Dreadful.
Why is he wearing Band-Aids?
I don't know. He's all covered in Band-Aids though, huh?
Why is he all covered?
He's being crazy. Do you like to sometimes wear Band-Aids when you don't have a cut? Yeah. Dreadful. Someone ate the baby. It's rather sad to say.
Why did someone eat the baby?
I don't know. Someone ate the baby, so she won't be out to play. We'll never hear her whiny cry or have to feel if she's dry. We'll never hear her asking why. Someone ate the baby. Someone ate the baby. It's absolutely clear. Let's keep listening and we'll find out. Someone ate the baby because the baby isn't here. We'll give away her toys and clothes. We'll never have to wipe her nose. Dad says that's the way it goes. Someone ate the baby. Someone ate the baby. What a frightful thing to eat. Someone ate the baby. Though,
that's not nice to eat the baby.
no, that's not nice. She wasn't very sweet. It was a heartless thing to do. I don't know. The policemen haven't got a clue. I simply can't imagine who would go and eat the baby. I didn't eat the baby. That was a joke.
Why did he not eat the baby?
That was a joke. Evie, you're in front of the camera. Can you move, honey? Come down, please. Thank you. Skinny. Skinny McGinn was so terribly thin that while taking his bath Sunday night, out popped the plug, and sloosh swoosh and glug glug, it washed down Skinny right down the drain, out of sight. And where is our dear Skinny bathing tonight? In some underground pool down below, or up there so high? In that tub in the sky, where all of the clean people go? The land of happy. Have you ever been to the land of happy? Where everyone's happy all day, where they joke and they sing of the happiest things and everyone's jolly and gay. There's laughter and smiles galore. I've been to the land of happy. What a bore. Wait, what? I think it would be kind of nice to be happy all the time. Pirate Captain Jim.
Hey, who's Pirate Captain?
This dude right here.
He's a regular guy, right?
Walk the plank, says Pirate Jim. But Captain Jim, I cannot swim. Then you must steer us through the gale. But Captain Jim, I cannot sail. Then down with the galley slaves you go. But Captain Jim, I cannot row. Then you must be the pirate's clerk. But Captain Jim, I cannot work. Then a pirate captain you must be. Thank you, Jim, says Captain Me.
Why is that nice to say that?
Oh, it's fine. It's tricky. Fish.
Why is it tricky?
The little fish eats the tiny fish, so the big fish eats the little fish. So only the biggest fish get fat. Do you know any folks like that? No. If the world was crazy.
I think it's a really big system.
If the world was crazy, you know what I'd eat?
Huh?
A big slice of soup and a whole quart of meat, a lemonade sandwich. Wait, this all sounds crazy. And then I might try some roasted ice cream.
Eat a lemonade sandwich.
You'd like to eat a lemonade sandwich or a bicycle pie, a nice notebook salad.
I love a bicycle pie.
Oh, a nice notebook salad or underwear roast. An omelet of hats and some crisp cardboard toast. Put that down, please. A thick malted milk made from pencils and daisies, and that's what I'd eat if the world was crazy. Evie, stop or I'm going to throw it. I'm going to get rid of it. If the world was crazy, you know what I'd wear? What do you think I'd wear? A chocolate suit and a tie of eclair.
I
Oh.
love a chocolate suit.
Some marshmallow earmuffs, some licorice shoes, and I'd read a paper of peppermint news. I'd call the boys Susie, and I'd call the girls Harry. I'd talk through my ears, and I would carry a paper umbrella for when it grew hazy, to keep in the rain if the world was crazy. If the world was crazy, you know what I'd do? I'd walk on the ocean and swim in my shoe. I'd fly through the ground and I'd skip through the air. I'd run down the bathtub and bathe on the stair.
Why would you bathe on the stair?
Well, that would be kind of a crazy place to take a bath.
Why?
Because when I met somebody, I'd say, "Goodbye, Joe." Don't eat that. And when I was leaving, then I'd say, "Hello." And the greatest of men would be silly and lazy, so I would be king if the world was crazy.
Why would?
All right. I think these are going to be the last ones. Stone telling. How do we tell if a window is open? Just throw a stone at it. Does it make a noise? If it doesn't, well, it was open. Now let's try another. Crash. Oh, it wasn't. Do not put your mouth on that.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. Don't do it. Chester. Chester come to school and said, "Darn, I grewed another head." Teacher said, "It's time you knowed." The word is grew instead of growed.
Why?
Because you don't say, "I growed taller." You say, "I grew taller." All right, everybody. Evie, you want to come around and say bye to everybody? We'll save a few more poems for tomorrow.
Bye.
Come to where they can see you, say.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.